Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Paid Pod. Okay, so I actually did have a conversation with some people about the previous episode, and a lot of people found it a little bit confusing. So we're going to talk more about the pre-close choreography and how that works, because a lot of y'all seem to think that freelancing is about working harder, sending more proposals, talking for longer in the interviews, piling a whole lot of energy into everything until the client says yes. It's wrong. Freelancing is not about dancing harder. Since we're talking about choreography, we're going to talk about dancing. Okay, we want to dance in rhythm. Once you master the choreography of the pre-close, clients do not need to be convinced. They don't need you to chase them. They don't need you to give them discounts. They just need the space to realize that they've already decided. So the big lie in freelancing, what I consider the illusion of hard work, is that more equals better. More words, more proof, more calls. But think of it like a dance floor, right? The person that's flailing the hardest is not the one everyone watches. I mean, we might just to be like, oh, what's up over there? We rather all stop and watch the one that moves in rhythm, right? The one that's smooth, effortless, precise. That's the freelancer who closes. So we're not all looking at the freelancer that is sweating, or the one that's chasing, or all of that. Not that one. Instead, we're looking at the one that hits the beat step by step. Okay? But then also at the same time, it is paradoxical, because the pre-close choreography in and of itself is not long. It's short, it's sharp, it's minimal, but every single move stacks into a sequence that then makes the yes feel inevitable. And so the very first move in this choreography is anchoring, the anchor. And I remember members of the previous version of the Paid Squad were taught 4 A's, right? The 4 A's. And anchoring is one of them. When you reply to an invitation or when you send a proposal, actually, the client is swimming in noise. They're like an ocean, have you ever seen the North Sea? Like, it's really rough, y'all. Generic replies, desperate pitches, AI generated paragraphs. All of them sound the same. So they need something or someone to just anchor them, to cut through the noise. So when you're sending your proposal, it's got really nothing to do with who you are, but rather about reflecting back what they just said with clarity, not repeating what they just said, reflecting back. One sentence that makes them think, okay, finally, someone actually heard me. That's the opening beat of the choreography. That's it, the anchor. If you miss that, then you are already off rhythm. Second thing is the mirror, right? I spoke about it slightly, mirroring back what it is that they said in order to anchor them. So it's not, like I said, that lazy copy-paste kind where you parrot their words. Instead, it's precise, it's surgical. You mirror the stakes, No, you don't say, I can design your website. Instead, you say something like, oh, I can help you launch without the nightmare of missing another deadline. There's a huge difference between that. One of those two statements mirrors the task. The other one mirrors fear behind the task. And when you mirror the stakes, the client doesn't just feel understood. They actually end up feeling really, really safe with you. The final move that you would then take is microproof. Okay? And microproof is not a 10-page portfolio. It's not you making a huge resume dump. It's typically one line, one reference, one teeny tiny little breadcrumb that says, oh, I've solved this before. So it is like a chess move where you don't flood the board with a whole bunch of words. Instead, you just place one piece in the right square, and then suddenly the whole game shifts. Now the client doesn't need a full history. Now, all they need is just one signal, right? Something that whispers, you're not the first client I've had to have this problem. I got you, right? And that is how the microproof works. The fourth step is then something called an open loop. Okay, so when you leave an open loop, you're basically creating some kind of tension, some kind of curiosity, because most freelancers actually slam the door shut. They say, I can help, here's my portfolio, when can we start? And that's ending the story in the middle. So when you're using choreography, things are a little bit different. You end with a question that pulls them forward, a question that makes the conversation inevitable. Not, can I help? But something that is like, what's the one thing that would make this project feel like a success to you? Right? You see what happened? The client leans in, they step onto the dance floor, and then the rhythm carries them forward. And that's the hardest thing, what happens after they've stepped onto the dance floor. Because the fifth step is a pause. Silence. Freelancers fear silence. They rush in to fill the gap. But silence is actually part of the rhythm. Silence is actually the beat between each step. So when you pause, when you resist the urge to oversell, you then create space for the client to actually realize they're already leaning on yes. So again, I want you to think about it. I'm going to use this analogy, but this time not too complicated. Think of it like Netflix autoplay. That pause is the moment after one episode ends, that the next episode begins. You're not choosing, right? You don't have to click anything. You're just moving with the flow. And that's what silence does in freelancing. It makes the next step feel automatic. So if we're going to put the sequence all together, we've got our anchor, we've got our mirror, we've got our microproof, we've got our open loop, and then pause. That's the choreography. Just 5 moves. Minimal, repeatable, and then when they're done in rhythm, that's how you engineer certainty. And certainty is what clients buy. They don't buy skill, they don't buy price, they don't even buy experience. They buy certainty. So here's a real question for you. If you could engineer certainty in every single invitation, in every single interview, with every single client, what would your business look like? 5, well, maybe 6 months from now. That is the pre-close choreography when it compounds, because it does have a compounding effect. So in the next episode, I am going to take you behind the curtain and I'm going to show you how to stack this rhythm, not just for one client, because that's cute, but for every single client in your pipeline. That way you're not freelancing project to project, but instead, and this is the word of the season, this is the word of version 4 in the paid pillars, you want to build momentum. Actually, even Upwork these days tells you to build momentum when it encourages you to send more proposals. I don't know if you've noticed that. So freelancing is not about dancing harder. Just remember that. Instead, it is about moving in rhythm. And once you master that pre-close choreography, the yes is already written before the music even starts. Okay? So remember, 5 steps. That's it. All right. I wanted to keep it short this week. I know the last episode was a little bit longer. So I hope this was really helpful for you. Comment down below on YouTube or on Spotify if you have any additional questions, and I will make it simpler. I cannot wait for the next version 4 of the Paid Squad to come through. It is the final version of the Paid Squad. I will be retiring the Paid Squad after version 4. Looking forward to seeing where the future takes us. So I'll see you on the very next episode, where we will go into how to stack all these yeses, right? How do we stack all of these pre-close choreographies to build momentum so that we are not moving from project to project, but rather we are having a steady stream of clients. All right, guys. Like I said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.